go. All right, no intro. Let's just dive right in. We're roasting my pedal boards from the past. Some of these are really silly. The very first board was literally a board of wood that I had drawn little cartoons on. I tried to find an actual photo of this board, but it's just pixels because that was a long, long time ago. It's probably taken on a phone quite like this. It was Boss, Blues Driver, DD3, amazing. I probably only had it on that fastest setting to do like laser beam sounds. Line 6 DL4, the OG, the stock switches that failed all the time. I think I only had one song that had a loop, but those loops would fail quite a bit. And I used that sweep echo setting, which was so great. I missed that setting. Tuner. Classic. This was probably all powered by a power strip that I stole from my mom from Kmart or something. And then I daisy chain power off the tuner here. And then I had this stupid wall wart DL4 thing. It was horrible, but it worked for the handful of gigs I played back then. Okay, the real pedal board. I purchased a board shortly after this. It was this thing, and I can't remember the brand for the life of me. It was like two cabinet doors that you lift up and you put your power supply under there. Power supplies were around at this point, but they weren't common at all. So I think it was still the janky power strip set up with the daisy chain. And it's mostly Boss pedals anyway. These two guys, the Whammy and the DL4, obviously have annoying power. So I probably had two big wall warts under here, sort of powering everything, sort of quietly, into this amp that was way too nice for a pedal board that sucks this much. EHX Pulsar, though, that thing was sick. It broke because it's old EHX and those all broke. I had a Boss power driver on there. I don't remember ever having that on a board. I still have this pedal. It's great. I might have put it on there to fill this slot because you can't have an empty slot on a board. This board sucked, though. It was like the fuzzy part, I think the loop part of Velcro. So after like a year of using it, all the stuff came off. It was just little Velcro hairs everywhere. I got rid of it. I think I just gave it to someone one day. I don't think I even sold it. Good riddance. All right. My next board was this big beast thing. Was this the next board? I think it was the next board. It was the big giant thing. I was playing in a band. We were extremely active. We were doing gigs, like not extremely, but maybe 2-3 gigs a month. This setup was great. I think I used pretty much everything on here. I used the line selector basically just to turn on two effects at once. I used this other looper to turn on the organizer and the synth wah together, I believe. This thing was great, very usable, but my power still sucked. This was when my drummer and I soldered my daisy chain to be the appropriate length to get to all these weird little spaces on the board. And it was terrible, man. I don't remember it specifically being noisy, but it must have been horribly noisy. I don't know what we were doing. We were just ding-dongs. Boss, BD2, Keeley modded. It's always on the board. It's always there. The next iteration of that, I think, was just the kind of nicer. I was just buying like nicer pedals, getting sucked into all the Andy's little demos. Let's see. I've got two pieces of tape. One says Dink, one says Durf. I don't know why that happened, but we probably thought it was really funny at the time. I had this RC5 looper with the Boss foot switch just to turn off loops. I think at that point we were just triggering a lot of things. I kind of wish we dove into that a little more. That was kind of a rad thing to be doing back then. This was probably 2011. Yeah, cool board. Way too big, way too heavy. I wouldn't want to lift this today. Okay, this was probably, that band took a little break. We were always taking big, long breaks because we were idiots. But I think with this board, I was sick of the Whammy. I was sick of powering the Whammy, but it's going to come back, as you'll see. So I tried to do octave down with the OC3, octave up with the sub and up. It's just sucked. It was so floppy and weird. Power driver made its way back onto this board somehow. Still don't remember using that for anything real. Here's my Durf sticker. I don't know why this says Durf. Line 6 M5 is the only time this would have ever been on a board. I think I actually had this little loop switcher to turn this on because these switches are so crappy. This thing's great for just like bopping around, doing goofy stuff with, but it's kind of annoying. The power's annoying. Cool. Back to a little board, I guess. I think I was getting sick of lifting at that point. Next iteration. This is a little cleaner of a setup. I was using the dual fusion for a little bit. I think I was actively trying to not use the Boss BD2 because it had just been in my life too long and I needed to try new stuff. Maybe the first time I had used a bypass looper for my entire board, I think I just had the dirt, the Whammy in one loop, the phaser in another, the delay in another, just to clean it up. We had one gig at this bar that had like a DJ playing upstairs, And every time I would step on certain pedals, it would pick up all of his stuff. It was annoying. So I got a bypass looper. I don't even think that solved that problem. Note here, there's a couple zip ties underneath this thing. I wonder what that could be for. Oh, it's for the weird power I had for the Canyon delay and the whammy. For some reason, the Canyon delay wasn't responding to the, I think I had a Pedal Power Plus at the time, Voodoo Labs. For some reason, the Canyon didn't respond to that. It was very noisy. So I had this horrible, janky IKEA 3-prong thing. Anyway, slightly updated version of that. I added a chorus and a flanger, I guess. Maybe looks a little more fun. I don't know. I don't recall using either of these pedals very much, but it's a board. All right, and then we get on to me fiddling with drum machines and synthesizers. I bought a little nano pedal train, and it was just going to be 4 or 5 pedals, and it was kind of fun. I would just had this little like dinky auxiliary board, usually just dirt, some kind of modulation, delay, reverb. Kind of cool. The sugar drive didn't last too long. I don't really like clones that much. Nothing against this pedal. It's cool that I think it was one of the first like cheap, small clones. But yeah, this thing looks fun. I would love to still have all. I don't think I own a single one of these except for the Deco. Also recording onto a Tascam Portastudio. Probably one of 5 times I've ever used this thing. It's really fun, but it's a big ordeal to set up. Here's another iteration of the drum machine board. Looks like I was trying to find some use for the dual fusion, but it was a very, very guitar voiced pedal. I probably got rid of it soon after this. Okay, this one I don't remember existing at all. Looks like I'm got the BD2 back on the board. This thing's never leaving me. I had the Phase 99 for probably this day only, and I probably listed it the next day. Too wild, a little too weird. The depths sounds great. I got rid of it because it was just too tweakable. I could never feel happy with the setting on there. I still got the whammy on there, so this is probably still the Pedal Power Plus. Somehow doing 8 pedals though, I'm probably still daisy chaining something somehow. I've got these horrible little kit patch cables. Terrible. I hated these things. They broke all the time. Oh, you know what? This is a power strip. So still janky power at this point. Cool. All right. I think this is when I actually started to get serious. I bought, you can see here, the 4x4 pedal power. God, it's so hard to say that. Pedal power 4x4 Voodoo Labs. Solid power supply. Nice and quiet, but a little complicated for my puny old man brain. So it didn't last too long either. I think I made a video about this exact board, actually. I really like this build. This is when I was starting to get serious and I started doing dual lock. I took all the Velcro off. Looks like I didn't clean the Velcro goo very well. The looper's still here. Kind of cool to have a tube screamer going into a muff. I haven't done that since this, probably. I had a momentary loop switcher just turning on this phaser just to do momentary phasing. I don't know. That was a silly thing. This board was used a lot for ambient stuff. The DD200 and the Immerse were always just cranked up. You can see the Immerse mix knob is maxed out. So I was doing all sorts of ambient looping and weird fuzzed out volume pedal stuff. All right, here's a sort of close version to that. I think I just swapped out the chorus for this Eddy, which I also didn't keep at all. This cable back here is really frightening me. I feel like just looking at this picture, I'm going to snap this cable. I don't think I have this cable anymore, so it probably snapped. Boss BH2, one of my all-time favorites. It makes its way onto my boards once in a while. This is the first emergence of the Flint, I believe. Still on my board. I love this thing, but I've sold most of these. All right, this board, I'm getting into weirder and weirder stuff at this point. I'm doing a lot of ambient stuff with like envelope filter sweeps. The whammy is back somehow. I don't know. The whammy, I have a passionate love affair with the whammy, I guess. It's gone now. Someone else owns it. The cue balls was so rad and so fun and weird. BD2, here it is, back again. I don't know why there's a hole here. I think I was between reverb pedals for some reason. Okay, here's another iteration of the old synthesizer board. The Gonkulator. I don't think I mentioned in the pedals I've sold video, but the Gonkulator is really good for drum machines. I kind of wish I still had it so I could make a video about drum machine through Gonk, but if you have one and you have a drum machine, just try it out. It's real fun. I love this. I don't like having the Ojai on top of the board, but Pedal Train Nanos are very, very slim. They're not too deep. It's like an inch of space underneath, so it doesn't fit. Let's see. At this point, I'm just a bedroom musician. I no longer play with my drummer. I'm doing weird stuff. I got this vocoder pedal. I probably made like only funny videos with it. I don't think I ever used for anything musical. Looks like the Dual Fusion made it back. The Grand Canyon is here. Makes a little cameo, which short-lived pedal. I didn't keep this very long. The Terraform was one of those pedals that made me rethink this power supply. It draws like a weird number of current. It's like 104 milliamps, and usually you have slots that are 100 only. So it got me kind of thinking about, oh, maybe I need to upgrade my power supply, whatever. Looks like a fun board though. Okay, this was a weird experiment. This was like a secondary board. I think I got rid of the Nano, the little synthesizer board, and I was sending synth through just these two top pedals. My tuner was way over here. You could see kind of peeking out. There's my actual board. Probably the one we just saw. And then this connects to this board. Then I had a looper to kind of loop weird ambient stuff. And then this guy's a weird kill switch thing. I was just kind of doing like weird stutter glitch stuff with it. This setup was terrible. Okay, so don't do a secondary board. I think I made a video of building the secondary board. I should delete that video because it's a bad idea. Don't do it. All right, then we get into like the modern era. This is from 3-4 years ago. I'm doing more synthesizer pedal stuff. I'm going through many synthesizer pedals to find something I like. I currently, at this day, don't really like synthesizer pedals that much. I have a lot of synthesizers. I don't know why I need my guitar to sound like a synthesizer. This went away. This was sold pretty quickly. Still kind of dinking around the Terraform. Looks like I've got a Strymon power supply, that nice blue color they use. Iridium's still on the board. Fairfield EQ thing with an expression pedal. I was doing wah stuff at this point. This was when I discovered the magic of Tube Screamer into Rat. The best, you guys. The Polytune 3 is such a good tuner. I never thought I would even care about tuners because I just want to be in tune. I don't care about, the flair of tuners, but it's got a buffer in it, which I think does something, maybe. Who knows? But the screen, I don't know if I'm just getting old and I can't see as well anymore, but you can actually see this one and you know exactly when you're in tune. Highly recommend it. I love this thing. That's still the big giant board. I think, no, I didn't get rid of it yet. This is just a new board. This was that secondary board I ripped apart and just made a second board. I just have 2 boards now. That was a good life upgrade too. This board I was looking at as like favorite stuff. I wanted a board that it's not stuff I'm going to like go gig with. It's just going to be a bedroom board. The Deco is of course on there. One of my all-time favorites. Mini pedals galore on this one. Moxie, Tube Screamer into Fuzz, whatever. A bunch of people in a forum told me that this had to be in the front of the board. And I don't know if they're right, but I just did it. Whatever you say, Facebook group, I'll put it in front. This didn't last too long though. This is, what are we doing here? Looks like just a whole bunch of gain stages. Boost. I got Tube Screamer. I got a Rat. I got a Fuzz. Saturation from the Deco. I could have gain for days on this board. This is kind of cool. This is close to what this board looks like now, actually. All right. This, I think, is the last board before my current boards. I got rid of this big giant thing shortly after this. I thought I needed a giant board because these weren't really leaving the house. They were just studio boards. I had like extra space on this board that I realized I didn't need. But yeah, this is pretty close to my current studio board. This is close, but I didn't like this thing being so large. So I got rid of it. I got older. My back kind of doesn't work anymore. Cool board. I think I'm using dual Strymon power supplies underneath this thing because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pedals have to be powered for this. Kind of annoying. So that's the end of the boards. That's the last board before my current boards. I have 2 boards. I always keep 2 now. That's the rule after doing 1,000 different board changes. I have to have 2 because you get bored, you bust out the other one, you're no longer bored. I'm pretty happy with both my boards now because I did this a million times. It took a million times of doing this for me to realize that you need the dual lock, you need this higher end power supplies, you need the nice patch cables. It's all real, folks. Everything they say on this internet here, it's helpful. And once you start playing gigs, you'll realize you don't want a crappy board. You don't want things falling apart. Get it fun, get it usable, enjoy playing guitar. Okay, thanks for watching.